What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today, and oh yeah, we're piling the predictions on this year. It is a loaded week one slate. We already went through the 3 top 10 matchups. They have individual videos on my channel. Go check those out. And it was a great day of college football yesterday, as we have already previewed the weekday slate. But now let's preview the rest of the weekend slate. Obviously, everybody's going to want to watch Ohio State, Texas, Miami, Notre Dame on Sunday. You have LSU, Clemson Saturday night. But there are plenty more games in week one that are catching my eye, and I'm going to tell you about them here in this video. My name is Nate Both, otherwise known as Tailgate Nate. I'm a sports media graduate with a massive passion for everything going on in the world of sports, but especially the world of college football. If you want to help support the channel, then go down below, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you're locked into everything that I talk about this college football season. And if you want to support me on a more personal note and join me in my journey to climb the ladder as far as I can in the sports media professional industry, follow me at Tailgate829 wherever you like to peruse through social media. Again, plenty of games in week one that catch my eye outside of the top 10 matchups. Including some ones involving group of 5 teams. We're going to slide across in order that the games will be graced upon your television screen. So let's start with the one all the way over there to the far left on the top row, Syracuse and Tennessee. We'll talk about some games more than others, touch on a couple of things. This one does fascinate me, Syracuse and Tennessee. Not only is it going to end up being a neutral site game, but it also is a game in which both teams are trying to replace a lot. Syracuse lost everybody from last year, including the nation's leading passer in Kyle McCord. No more Nico Iamaleava or Dylan Sampson or explosive wide receiver pieces for this Tennessee team. So and Tennessee could very well be changing philosophies, go on a more defense-first approach. I still think there's going to be some solid points scored in this game, and I am siding with the Volunteers. I think they just got a little bit more talent overall compared to what the Syracuse team has, but I do find this one really fascinating. This is the Aflac kickoff game. It's going to be taking place there in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I still really am excited for this one. I just don't think that Syracuse is going to have the offensive firepower they had last year. Now, that defense, if they can, especially in that secondary, Syracuse usually pumps out some pretty good defensive backs, and they have a former DB coach as their head coach. That secondary can keep up with the Tennessee passing attack that I still think can be pretty solid under Joey Aguilar. Yeah, he's got to get the picks figured out, but other than that, I think Aguilar's not a bad quarterback at all. This is a game I'm going to be absolutely fascinated to watch. I believe Tennessee's going to win this one. The odds are telling them, I got to find it right here. Tennessee is getting nearly 2 touchdowns. I think I like Syracuse to cover that, but I still like the Vols to win the game 31-20. Couple games here involving some group of 5 teams. You got Northwestern and Tulane. Now, this one also going to be fascinating. I really like this Tulane team a lot, and I think Tulane can be a very dangerous side this year. Look, you get Jake Retzlaff at quarterback now, right? Whether it's him or Kane Samanza, probably going to end up being Retzlaff. And I know, no more Mekhi Hughes. Some good wide receiver pieces are gone. I think you have one of the best head coaches in all of the G5. And now that Boise State looked as bad as they did yesterday, this G5 race, if it wasn't already, is wide freaking open. Boise State, to me, was that clear front runner until I saw otherwise. Well, we just saw that yesterday, and USF is going to compete in that race. Tulane is one of the front runners in there as well. What I will say about this Northwestern team is don't be sleeping on them. I know I didn't predict them that well in my preseason predictions. I still don't think that they're going to fare that well overall this season, but this is a team that the more and more I look at them, the more and more I think, especially about their offense, okay, they can end up being pretty dangerous this year. Tulane is getting 4.5 right now. I think Northwestern's offense can do enough to be able to cover that, but I don't think they'll do enough to get through the fortitude that this Tulane defense will, I think, see all year long, and that's a reason that I am picking Tulane to beat Northwestern. 24-21 is my score prediction over there. Toledo and Kentucky. This one also fascinates me because Kentucky, while they have one of the better portal classes in the country this year, there is definitely still a lot to try to fit in, right? And there's a lot that needs changing. You're going to have a new quarterback, believe it's Zach Calzada. You're going to have new wide receiver pieces after a couple really good ones transferred out. You're going to get some good ones transferring back in. Defensively, you got to see an uptick in production, and this is a dangerous Toledo team. Tucker Gleason, Junior Vandeross, some really nice, solid skill position players. And Toledo might very well have one of the better defenses in the Mid-American Conference this year. I do think Toledo is going to take a step forward from what they were last year. A very disappointing season. Oh, Chip Trainum, that running back, by the way. Toledo had a very disappointing season compared to program standards last year. And I think they're going to be one of the MAC frontrunners this year because of all they have coming back. I really like Toledo to keep this one close, but I think Kentucky, things are going to work out, I think, more in Kentucky's favor this week than they won't, right? Calzada at quarterback, Dante Dowdell at running back, Kendrick Law and some really talented wide receivers are there. Defense, you bulk that up through the transfer portal as well. I think that takes a nice step forward for you this season. I like the Wildcats here, but I would not be super shocked if the Toledo Rockets were to come away from Lexington with this win. While I'm not predicting that to happen, don't be surprised if Toledo gives Kentucky a fight, which is exactly what I'm predicting, or if Toledo comes away with the win in this contest, which I think, guys, is fairly plausible. So Toledo does fall to Kentucky, but I'd watch out for the Rockets this year. And you even saw the MAC schools yesterday. Ohio on the road at Rutgers, Miami, Ohio on the road at Wisconsin, and Buffalo on the road at Minnesota. All of them covered their spreads. Toledo's a MAC team, I think, can do the same thing this week on the road against an SEC opponent. This one, to me, is going to be pretty quick and simple. Alabama and Florida State. You move now into the second row, go all the way back over to the far left. This is the 3:30 game. All times, I will say, by the way, are in Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just not expecting this one to be particularly close. Now, if it is, it's because Florida State's going to have everything go in their favor. I think they're going to be plus in the turnover margin. I think you're going to see some stellar performances out of Tommy Castellanos, among some other pieces on that Florida State offense. Special teams might be a big factor there as well. To me, there's way too much that has to go right for Florida State to really even keep this one close, let alone win the game. This Alabama team is dangerous, and Ty Simpson going to end up being that quarterback. He's not the name-breaking guy that Bama has had at quarterback in the past with guys like Tua, Jalen Hurts, and even to a point last year with Jalen Milroe. In fact, you can go all the way and say that with Jalen Milroe last year. Ty Simpson, not really that flashy name that's in the quarterback room for Bama this year, but he fits better into the Kalen DeBoer system than what you saw out of Jalen Milroe. Florida State is not going to be as bad as they were last year. It's a statistical anomaly for them to even be as bad as they were last year coming off the season that they did. And for them to do that 2 years in a row, well, okay, you'd have to ask some real tough questions about that program. So I think Florida State's going to do their part to be able to battle and keep this one at least within being respectable, but I see this being a very similar case where Alabama went on the road against Wisconsin last year. People were thinking, okay, this can be a nice competitive game. Maybe Wisconsin puts up a fight, and the Bama went on the road and steamrolled them. I don't think steamroll is the adjective I would use here, but I do think Bama's going to win the game pretty comfortably. 38-20 is what I got finishing for that game. Oregon State and Cal. This one does really intrigue me specifically for what Cal did in their starting quarterback room. They have gone with the true freshman over Devin Brown, and I'm just not going to try to pronounce his name. First name, Jaron. Good luck. Actually, 1 second. I'll try it. All right, here we go. Let's give this a shot. Jaron Kiawe Sagapulatele. I would really get to know that name this year. He is going to be the next. Look, you look at guys like Tua and Dylan Gabriel and guys that have hailed from the islands and the Samoan backgrounds, right? Sagapulatele is the next guy that I think is going to hail from there, or not. I know that's again the area. I'll get you the exact one here. He is from Iwa Beach, Hawaii, and I don't even think I said that right. But Cal has a good one in him this season. I think they got a real good quarterback. To me, Oregon State's a little bit too tough. I think they showed everything they needed to show us last year. There's a lot of good talent that is on that team. I think you get an upgrade in the quarterback room with all the mishaps that happened with that unit last year, and you get a guy that's been proven to have success at the Power 5 level. You get Malik Murphy over from Duke. Really like that move over here for the Oregon State Beavers. Think he's going to provide a spark that really no other quarterback could provide last year. And the defense, you get some massive pieces coming back to that defense. And I think Oregon State, while Cal, I think going to end up being a little sneaky competitive this year. They may not fare to be that great of a team by the end of the year. I think this is an Oregon State team that you could be looking back and saying, wow, that team was actually pretty solid. I think Oregon State, honestly, could be even more than pretty solid. They could be pretty good this year, and the Beavs will be able to beat the Golden Bears as they renew a little old Pac-12 showdown. And we got another one this year as well, or this week, I should say. Utah and UCLA. This one going to be in Los Angeles as Utah goes on the road to the Rose Bowl. And now it is Big 12 versus Big 10. This used to be a Pac-12 showdown, and now it's Big 12 versus Big 10. Yeah, I know the world works in mysterious ways, and it's all mystical, magical nowadays in college football. Geography means nothing. But for Utah and UCLA, I actually really like this matchup for both sides, and I think it's going to end up being a pretty solid game. The gripes that you've had with both of these teams is, look, for Utah last year with Cameron Rising hurt again, now no longer coming back, who was going to step up and be that playmaking quarterback for him, right? With UCLA coming into this year, it's okay, well, you were going to have Joey Aguilar, now you have Nico, but can the weapons around Nico be enough to unleash Nico's full potential? And even when you take a look at Iamaleava, he's got to take some steps up from the way he played at Tennessee. There are definitely ways in which Nico could have had a better stat line under Josh Heupel with that volunteer program. So I think there's some improvement that's going to need to be made all around for this UCLA program, especially offensively. Defensively, though, while I still don't think Utah's offense is going to be absolutely fantastic, like one of the best in the country, I think it's going to take a massive step up from where you've seen it in the past couple of seasons, and I think it's going to prove to at least be a really solid group. Devin Dampier coming in to be that quarterback. You got Wayshawn Parker transferring in, an entire new wide receiver room that I really like what they did in the transfer portal, and there's no way this defense lets up from what we know about a Kyle Whittingham defense. They play hard, they play physical, they punch it in the mouth, and that's why I think Utah's going to go on the road and beat UCLA. Physicality battle will be won by the Utes in this contest, and ultimately the difference probably could very well end up being turnover margin, the side of the ball, or I should say bounce of the ball, things like that. Utah, I think the team that's better equipped to handle a game like that, and that's why I got the Utes walking out of the Rose Bowl with a win. Yes, we have a game on Sunday. 2 games, actually. One of them, again, has already got a video up on my channel. It's Notre Dame and Miami. Go check it out, as well as the videos I got on the other 2 top 10 matchups. That's Clemson, LSU, and, of course, the big one in Columbus, Texas, and Ohio State. But we do have this one on Sunday, Virginia Tech and South Carolina. To me, if Virginia Tech is going to win this game, it's going to be close. And while it's not as extreme as, say, well, what Florida State needs to do to beat Bama, but you definitely might have to pull out some pretty special effort here from Virginia Tech to be able to battle your way to this win. I just think South Carolina's going to be that good. They got some really tough defensive pieces. They got offensive pieces and just studs galore. Nick Harbor at wide receiver is one of them. They got some really good ones in the running back room. In fact, someone just got the NCAA waiver to go play. That was Rasul Faison, the Utah State transfer that's coming over to play there, who is going to be a phenomenal running back. And of course, Lenoris Sellers, the redshirt sophomore at quarterback. Man, is he fantastic or what? I think he's going to be a real dynamite weapon. Now, the reason I think Virginia Tech's going to keep this one maybe a little closer than some of you may be thinking is because I think Kyron Drones takes a step up in that playmaking ability this year. Now, if he doesn't, you could see that one get one-sided and you could see it get there pretty quickly. Overall, though, I think Kyron Drones takes that next step up. I do think that Virginia Tech has got some okay defensive pieces to be able to corral what South Carolina wants to do offensively. But overall, I think the Gamecocks are just going to be a little bit too much. And that's why I do have South Carolina winning this game. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see it be a little or a lot more than the margin that I have them winning by. But regardless of how you slice it, I personally think Virginia Tech can keep this thing pretty competitive, but I do think South Carolina, without a doubt, is going to walk away there with that win. One of the more interesting games to talk about here in week one is the one that's going to happen on Labor Day. That is TCU getting to play North Carolina. And this one simply just does fascinate me. This one really does. I am going with TCU for quite a few reasons, which I'll explain here momentarily. But you take a look at both of these teams. There's a lot of unknown with North Carolina. What is Gio Lopez going to be at the quarterback position? We saw what he could do at South Alabama. Can he continue that here? And you got a big question about your defense, right? The defense has been the thing that has not sat well with North Carolina fans. It has not been a very good unit. However, you're bringing in a head coach in Bill Belichick with a defensive coordinator in his own blood, right? That is known for building those defensive units, right? And I think is really going to help North Carolina get that side of the football going this year. I just think TCU is a really tough offense to start with, especially a quarterback like Josh Hoover. Whew, have fun trying to game plan for what Hoover and this passing offense can do. I think TCU's got some studs on the outside. I think Josh Hoover is a stud in and of himself. They're going to have a solid enough running game to be able to complement that and make you think about it just enough to then, okay, we're going to try to commit to the run here. Boop, nope, pass over the top. And that's exactly when you get beat. I think TCU puts up quite a few points here. 35-27 is the way I see this one playing out. North Carolina defense is going to need some fine-tuning and work. I think it'll show some good moments. I think they're going to get pressure back to the quarterback on some occasions, and you're going to see the secondary make a play or two here and there. But TCU is going to be too persistent. They're too explosive, and I do like that Horned Frog defense as well. TCU could be a little bit of a sleeper in the Big 12 this upcoming season. Ooh, apologies, frog in my throat. Yes, we are keeping track of every single game I predict this year right down below here. That total, or that record down there includes week 0 games, and it includes the games that I previewed for Thursday's slate over on my video yesterday. You want to hear me talk about the slate coming up today? Go back and watch that video. I talk about a couple of games on Friday, especially the two big ones, Power 4 versus Power 4. But these are all the matchups that are intriguing me in week 1 on top of plenty others that are going to be going on throughout the country. UTSA, Texas A&M, and there are a couple G5 versus G5 matchups I'm honestly really intrigued to watch. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like to help support me in the channel in whatever way you may be able to do so, and remember to play hard but tailgate harder. Enjoy your college football weekend. We will talk after Labor Day. Have a good one, everyone. Goodbye.